So at this point we've covered audience acquisition behavior. Now let's look at those goals we set up and look at the conversions report. So the conversions are the tracking of valuable actions like sales, leads, or downloads that people can take on your site. Let's take a look. Within the conversions tab, we've got our goals, our e-commerce, multi-channel funnels, and attribution reports. Let's begin by taking a look at goals. Within goals itself, again, we have our overview, which is standard in all of the Google Analytics reports. Doesn't tell you loads of information. The abandonment rate, the purchase complete for the different goals that you have set up in your Google Analytics, and the source medium where you can see where those goals came from. So a lot coming from organic search, then that referral, then we've got some direct stuff, different sites, paid search in at 6% of all goals. We're also able to toggle and change specifically if there's one goal we're interested in. So let's look at purchase complete. So this shows us where the location is. That is the thank you page, and we're tracking that goal. These are the different sources. To see a summary of all our destinations of all of those goal pages we have set up, like a thank you page or an e-commerce page or another kind of page on the website, we can go to goal URLs. At this point we have our purchase complete goal selected. We can also look at maybe the amount of people that registered, and we can see where that location is. So registration success, when people have registered, they will be brought to a page that says register success, thank you for your registration, and we are counting the number of times that page is hit, which has been 527 times in the past week. So we have had 527 registrations on our website. We're then able to look at the funnel visualization, which shows, again, just for this goal, which doesn't have a funnel set up, but maybe our purchase has a funnel set up. So purchase does have a funnel set up because there are a number of stages in it. You add something to the cart, you do your billing and shipping, you pay, you review, and then your purchase is complete. We have done that in the goal setup, and this is how it looks. All along the way, you're able to see the number of people that entered in on that page. So 1,856 people added something to cart. 1,363 people decided just to abandon and exit. Then the number of people who abandoned on the billing and shipping was 148. The number of people who abandoned on the payment section was only 90. And then the number of people who abandoned on review was 21. So we're able to see if there was a large number here, we could say, well, there might be something wrong with the payment area. So that allows us to get some insight into the steps of our shopping cart, and we set that up in the goals section at the start of this module. The reverse goal path shows you the different steps that happened prior to each step in the order complete final goal. So what happened next? It is the reverse funnel in this regard, and we can see the actual URL names along the way. A less visual version of the funnel visualization tool. And then we have our goal flow, which will show how people interacted in the cart along the way. You can see that in a visual way. Another version of looking at the goal with feeding in what came before the cart stage, and we can see that the source, the majority came from Google, but we might want to look at something like landing page. We can see what the most common landing page was before our funnel started. So we can see it's the home page, then the basket page, then the store page, then a different search page with YouTube, and we're able to just understand a little bit more in a tabular format then down the bottom. So a way of just looking at your funnel in a different sense. We then have SMART goals, which are automatic goals that Google sets up on your behalf based on its understanding of the likelihood of a conversion on your chosen goal or your e-commerce area here. It's not such an insightful report. It's more an engagement goal piece, less a transactional goal piece. If you are tracking e-commerce and you are tracking goals, it may not be required that you set up SMART goals. if you don't have that set up on your site, it is a way of understanding the value of your visitors. Specifically for e-commerce sites, we have the e-commerce reports. These reports will be populated by the data that is being pushed from your website to Google Analytics. This is the specific code that your coder has to set up on your final e-commerce page and in your cart to push the transaction revenue and product data to Google Analytics. If you are using Magento or Shopify, you simply need to tick a box and enter your UA code, which is that tracking code that we find in the admin area of Google Analytics, to Shopify or Magento and the other larger e-commerce platforms, WooCommerce, etc. You don't need to do specific coding. What the e-commerce report will show you is an overview, which is quite useful. We can see the different campaigns that are driving revenue, any kind of promotions we have, coupons if you have enhanced e-commerce, and indeed any affiliates that are driving revenue too. You can see the products you've sold. Just in a nutshell, your products you sold, the different categories and the different brands. If you want to see more details on the product report, you can go view full report here. This just jumps you to this section here, but looking at product performance may give you a deeper dive into the type of products you are selling, the revenue per product, the unique purchases, the number you have sold, the average price, the average number of orders people buy. If you have a refund facility, that can be tracked here. Then we've got our basket to detail rate and our buy to detail rate. Now this is for enhanced e-commerce. If you don't have enhanced e-commerce set up on your site, some of these metrics won't be available, but the product revenue, unique purchases and quantity and average price will, which are the most beneficial metrics here. The shopping behavior is and refund is very much an enhanced e-commerce feature if you have that set up. Likewise with shopping behavior, it's an enhanced e-commerce feature that will give you this kind of report that shows the different new versus returning visitors, the sessions per product views, the number of sessions who people added to a basket, the number of sessions who people went to the checkout. So you can start understanding what are the different conversion rates in terms of what are called micro conversions. So a micro conversion isn't a full conversion like a purchase, but it might be adding a product to the basket or entering your details. So what micro conversions are the little conversions along the way that you can understand that lead to a larger conversion like a transaction. Then checkout behavior gives you a deep dive into what's happening within the checkout itself. Again, it's another way of viewing the funnel that we have set up. It's another way to understand the traffic versus the funnel in terms of things like our new versus returning visitors. So returning visitors do have a far higher likelihood of a transaction at 48% versus new visitors a little bit lower there. This allows us to understand the value of returning visitors. If we can understand what drives more returning visitors, we can increase the percentage likelihood of a conversion based on this metrics. Then we have other reports, things like our product list reports, which will show the categories and the product list name. Now our sales report will show the transaction ID. May not be so insightful unless you're the e-commerce manager of the website. And then we have our marketing stuff, which will show any kind of promotions, coupons, or affiliate activity that we have linked with our enhanced e-commerce. That in a nutshell are the two top reports in the conversions tab. Next up, we'll be talking about attribution and multi-channel funnels. For the most part, you'll be reviewing your goals report and your e-commerce report to understand the valuable actions that people are taking on your site.